So this is obviously one of the videos that I've been avoiding the most. There's a reason why it came last out of my whole big 4 list. I used to be really fit. In high school and everything before that, I used to not work out at all. I didn't play sport, do a whole lot. I worked, I was on my feet, I worked in restaurants. So that is a way, because you can easily get like 10,000 steps working a single double shift. And then ultimate frisbee was something that I found that became a huge passion of mine. It's something that gave me a lot of purpose and discipline and all those other great things that people talk about when they find a sport they really enjoy playing. We would practice 4 or 5 times a week, and then we would have really intensive weekend tournaments in the fall and spring. Personally, for me, I also played travel over the summer. And as I became a lot tighter and closer with people, I also found opportunities to play indoor tournaments in the wintertime. And that was what my life was like for 4 years. So I never learned how to work out. I never really learned how to condition for it, but like simply playing that much, where it's a really cardiovascular oriented and driven sport, you just get in shape that way. Now that I've been working, like I'm not playing in the spring, I'm not playing in the fall. It's just really hard to see how far you've lost what you previously had, which is what happened with me. And part of why my goal isn't to be like super in shape and buff, or to be able to run a 5-minute mile, that it's to learn how to be consistent with working out without relying on frisbee, without it just being frisbee practice, frisbee this, doing conditioning with frisbee people, but learning how to actually find what works for me, what makes me happy, and how to do it correctly, because I'm so competitive and frisbee is all about trying to beat the other person and go further and go farther than anyone else, that I didn't learn how to do things the right way. I didn't learn how to build endurance. I just learned, go to frisbee practice, you'll do it, and it'll be there. I'm working at home. I'm not even getting up really to go to a printer or to go to a coffee. Like, it's a 2-step commute. Like, I can't rely on my job or something else in my life being active unless I really drive it. And that was kind of my whole goal in January. I can't build a routine until I learn what it is I want my routine to be of. Like, I have to have the options to pick and figure out what works. So I kind of chose 4 different kind of activities. One, I'll be honest, I know it's to learn to be consistent without frisbee, but I still really love and enjoy it. I found indoor frisbee. It's following mandates as best as possible. We're all playing in masks. It's playing for 1 hour a week on Tuesdays. I wanted to have some connection to something that does bring me so much joy, but it's still not what is governing the whole working out process. One of the things that I really like, because they can be quick but also still an intensive workout, was HIIT exercises. I particularly chose Chloe Ting as a good option because girl like is fit as hell, and I've tried her exercises before and they are a struggle bus to complete. It's been 9 minutes. It's been 9 minutes. 9 minutes did this. Chloe Ting, go fuck yourself. It was really hard doing Chloe's exercises, and I kind of chose 2 different videos that I tried to really start this off. Like, I honestly chose Chloe Ting for the wrong reasons. I'm still conscious of how I look. I just am right now. And that's fair, because what used to be my normal, I've completely let go. I've gained 20 pounds. I used to be so self-conscious about talking about my weight and talking about my body, and I just want to learn the confidence to love myself for exactly as I am. And even though my body might not change a lot over the course of the year, I want to feel stronger. I just want to feel more in touch. And I can throw up some before photos that I took that my friend Martha really helped a lot with, which you guys met in the previous video actually. So I started with Chloe Ting for the wrong reasons, and you can kind of see that I was just like, fuck you during large portions of it, but my form was also terrible during that ab video. The whole point is to become fitter, and if you're doing planks like that because you're choosing too challenging of a video, that's not going to help you in the long run. I think the first one went a little bit better than trying to do the abs one, so I don't do Chloe Ting at all. Don't like try to push yourself. I'm willing to put it out there that that's wrong, and that was part of the thing that I really liked. And you can look at it, compared how I was doing planks from yoga versus Chloe Ting HIIT workouts is completely different. And I'm really glad that I switched over to yoga because it was also teaching me other fundamental things that I wasn't really thinking about before. They have ways of making you do those corrections in your body without it just being like lower your butt. I chose Yoga by Adriene. I was really familiar with her. A lot of the people that I play Frisbee with over the summer really recommended her. But like, she had things where it was just like pressing your shoulders, rolling them away from your ears. And look at how much my posture has already changed just by doing it right now. With the plank, instead of it being focused on your butt, it's like focused on getting over that hurdle. Effectively like is straightening out your back, which is what she wants you to do and how you're supposed to do the exercise. The only thing that I will say, yoga can sometimes be like, you have to pick your videos really well and smart, because some I felt like were super simple, super basic, super easy. Others were challenging me like no other. And I don't mind that. I mind when the challenge gets in the way of doing it correctly. I don't want to sacrifice form and risk an injury because I am so concerned about doing like the hardest thing and I'm gonna be so fit and I'm gonna get like all the abs. That's not the point. I could do like bullshit my way through this and maybe get something out of it, or I could start to learn how to do things right. Like the only other time in which I feel like I had a major activity that was oriented around fitness and around all of this was when I did tugs for my sorority. Like tugs, the whole thing was that your group rope had to be below a certain weight. Instead of it being focused on getting stronger, it was focused on learning the form of like how to actually tug, which is a lot of like wall sits and squatting and things like that. But we were effectively starving ourselves so we could get underweight. Tugs is 110% the closest I've ever been to a eating disorder lifestyle. I would be at lunch with my people in Frisbee eating like a salad and I'm staring at them. I'm staring at them eating a piece of chocolate cake in the dining halls. Technically, I was at my lowest weight of my life at tugs. Like I was under 150 pounds or something like that. I hated my life. My life doesn't have to be like peak Frisbee season where you're playing like 4 or 5 times a week, and doesn't have to be like tugs where I hate my life. Why I also really appreciate Yoga by Adriene. Like there's a ton of messages in her videos where it's all about thinking about yourself positively. It's about becoming attuned to your body. It's about listening to your breath and thinking about what's going on. How to let go. Be there for yourself in this moment. So yoga is definitely gonna stay in there. The first Chloe Ting do this every day for 10 minutes video to lose weight or something like that. I think that video was great because it's like great indoor cardio. During the winter time, that's the hardest thing for me to find. One of the things I do want to take more advantage of is the Nike running app. I did one of their guided runs and I really loved it. That's what I'm learning through it though, is that there's a lot of different runs. I always thought the run should be challenging and should be hard and should be like, oh, totally out of breath, but it doesn't have to be. And if you're trying to build up that endurance and you're just trying to have it for enjoyability, because I love how I feel after I run, I don't always like it when I go for a run. A big piece of that is giving up that like looking around and seeing all these other people. Like everybody has their starting point. I guess I can use that 20-minute run as also a metric throughout this whole process. I want to be faster. I want to run. I like how I feel, and I can track over this whole year running that 20-minute first run every single month. My initial goal for working out over like continuing forward, it's going to be to do at least 3 exercises a week. Any combination. It can be Chloe, it can be Adriene, it can be the Frisbee once a week. Like that's an easy one, already there, and I could go on a run once a week. I need to break the mindset. Failure is going to be a part of this process. I already have failed. It's not week 5 technically when I'm publishing this, but I'm still going. If there's anything that I guess I want anybody who's watching this video who is as intimidated and compares themselves and is a perfectionist like me, is that just starting and going and moving forward and not focusing on how you're not perfect is gonna be so much more important than the person who does everything perfectly for 2 weeks and then completely stops and completely derails themselves again. Yeah, one bad day and then you pick it up and you keep going. Like, my mental health literally just loves to shame myself. Before I went to counseling, I would shame myself. Oh, you fucked up? Well, fuck you, is how I would treat myself. Like, even the fact that I'm still making these videos, that I'm still working out, that I'm still going, like, I'm proud of myself for that, because I would have let myself get totally torn apart by not being perfect. Basically, February it's going to be keeping to that 3 times a week schedule. Gonna do a check-in and maybe challenge myself to try something completely new. If you have any suggestions on what new item, an idea you think would be fun to watch, just let me know, and catch you in the next one. See ya! Baby.
It happens. It's the flow. Breathe into your hands here. You can digest what I just said there and then just try to let it